Page of Discs has an esoteric correspondence with the element of the earth without influence from any of the other elemental energies, resulting in the pure essence of the earth element. Hello, I'm Michael J. Auger, creator of the Allcento Tarot. Because the Page of Discs is pure essence of the earth element, this card represents a focus on the material, which makes it the most down-to-earth of all the court cards. The Visconti-Sforza Madrone Tarot, also referred to as the Carrie Yale deck, originally included both a male and female page of coins. Sadly, the male version was lost to time, but the female version, seen here, features a figure facing the right, holding up a gold disc in both hands. The page of the Visconti-Sforza Bergamo Tarot, also known as the Pierpoint Morgan deck, faces the opposite direction, but also cradles a large gold disc which he looks down on with his full attention. In the Marseille style tradition, the valet is depicted holding up a gold disc to eye level to illustrate this consuming focus even more clearly. This focus is so intense that other opportunities may be overlooked, suggested by a second disc at his feet. There may be some naive aspects to this archetype, as Earth of Earth energy is the lowest of the low. A unique feature of the Marseille style is that the title of this card is usually located at the bottom, but in this case is located to the side instead. This allows the feet of this page to be lower than any other character in the deck. This is the lowest court card of the lowest suit. There's nowhere to go but up. On the Tree of Life of the Kabbalah, the material kingdom of Malkuth can be thought of as an echo of the topmost spiritual Kether, and the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn describe this card as the princess of the echoing hills. The decks of the Golden Dawn depict her standing on grass and flowers near a grove of trees. She is the most dense, solidified, and manifested of the court cards, and also the most fertile and idealized representation of womanhood. Her crest is the head of a ram, which represents the completion of one cycle and the birth of another. In one hand, she holds a scepter with a circular disc, and with her other hand, she holds a pentacle, similar to the Ace of Pentacles. And like the Ace, this is a card that represents unlimited potential. All manifested forms come through her, but they do so in an unpredictable way. One would think that pure correspondence with the earth element would be precise and stable, but while the material is beautiful, it is also messy. The purpose of life is to live. However, there are complications in being so far separated from the spiritual. The Thoth version of this card, created under the direction of Aleister Crowley, is beautifully illustrated by Lady Frida Harris. Crowley describes her as having an expression of intense brooding, as if about to become aware of a secret wonder. She is pregnant with possibility. With one hand, she holds a long staff pointed downwards. At the end of this staff, that is directed towards the earth, is a diamond that Crowley describes as the precious stone of Kether, thus symbolizing the birth of the highest and purest light in the deepest and darkest of the elements. She stands within a grove of sacred trees before an altar, suggesting a wheat sheaf, for she is the priestess of Demeter. With her other hand, she holds a large disc divided into 3 rings of 12 sections, plus a Taijutsu symbol of equilibrium, also known as the yin-yang, that is composed of 4 additional parts. This totals up to 40, which may be hinting at the 40 remaining cards of the minor arcana that we have yet to explore. The version of this card created by Arthur Edward Waite with the artistic help of Pamela Coleman Smith, is depicted as a youth who stands balanced on one foot. In the Golden Dawn tradition, they are found in a field of grass and flowers with a grove of trees in the background. Similar to the historic Marseille-style cards, this page looks intently at the pentacle that Waite describes as hovering over his raised hands. Waite explains that the meaning of this card is linked to ideas of application, study, scholarship, rules, and management. When reversed, it could represent wasteful tendencies, overindulgence in luxury, or even pillaging. But upright, this archetype can represent someone who acts like a young officer or soldier, unafraid to take risks, but is usually guided by practicality, order, and structure rather than emotion. This is a cool and dry personality that is reliable, but is also stubborn, defiant, and materialistic. And here's the page of discs from the Allcento tarot. She faces forward, confidently holding up a large disc in one hand and a wand in the other pointed downwards, similar to the staff of the Princess of the Thoth deck. There's also a grove of trees in the background, hinting at undiscovered mysteries. However, this page stands on a path that symbolizes practical means, leading towards a town that represents tangible results. This archetype has the spirit of an entrepreneur. A bag across her shoulder indicates she is well prepared. However, she's slightly off balance, with one foot raised, similar to the depiction from the deck by Waite-Smith. Spring daffodils and a tilled field symbolize new prospects. There's also a rabbit that represents a brave spirit. This page can be playful, creative, and kind, but also knows what she wants and diligently makes decisions using reason and common sense. Business comes first, and the drive is strong to achieve results. And now we have completed taking a closer look at all of the court cards, but before we move on to the numbered cards of the tarot, there's still a bit more to mention regarding the pages. The pages of the tarot evolved from the 4 jacks of playing cards, and each of the 4 pages of the Allcento tarot also corresponds to a different jack of tradition and folklore. The Page of Swords links to Jack Frost, the personification of winter. The Page of Cups is seen in profile and links to the wild one-eyed Jack. The Page of Wands links to the Jack that jumps over the candlestick. And the Page of Discs links to the Jack of the Green tradition of milkmaids who decorated themselves for May Day and danced with plates. Under close examination, you'll see that the eyes of the pages of the Allcento tarot are green to match the color used to highlight their rank, linking to the element of earth and structure. And also of importance, each page faces their kindred opposite elemental combination. The Page of Swords, Earth of Air, faces the King of Discs, Air of Earth. The Page of Cups, Earth of Water, faces the Queen of Discs, Water of Earth. The Page of Wands, Earth of Fire, faces the Chevalier of Discs, Fire of Earth. And the Page of Discs, Earth of Earth, or Pure Earth, faces forward, directly at the viewer. I have another video that links the 16 court cards of the tarot with the 16 Myers-Briggs personality types, and you can watch that video to find out which court card best matches your personality, and let me know in the comments. Also, be sure to give this episode a thumbs up, and you can also share your support by visiting my website where you can schedule tarot readings and browse and buy my offbeat artwork. Until next time, brightest blessings on your spiritual journey.